Okay, here we go. So we just added another 30 minutes or so. We're at about, I think, 3.5 hours. My goal for today was 4 hours. Um, Another goal was also to articulate the domain of the strike point, whose purpose is to bootstrap or articulate the bootstrap of Portal Mountain, the bootstrapping of the neurological operating system as well as the sociological operating system, to fill in enough details that a picture starts to emerge, giving you enough materials to start seeing how the pieces of the system work together. So I was just going through a list of potential or interesting topics that I wanted to go through. We ended on how is the primary schism being healed. So basically we are updating and restoring the neurological operating system as well as the sociological operating system. This comes in the form of a hyperstition which reaches out to you. This is an active running program. The artifacts you see from it are being generated from the ongoing execution of the program here and elsewhere. We are describing the meta-organization or the meta-religion, the meta-narrative. We're describing this because these are necessary fundamentals in which to align oneself to begin to participate and understand what's going on. So we've articulated this in terms of a viral package. So we're talking memetics, we're talking memetic selection. Two components to the viral package is the envelope is one component. The envelope is what allows entry into the foreign system to make contact. These are part of the envelope. To be welcoming, for example, is an envelope type of protocol that we were talking about to help to welcome guests and initiate relationships, into which to bring the model, to bring the guild. So this is a memetic medicine is the way that it spreads, becoming selected memetically. Once membership is achieved, then it can be properly expressed. And so we have this whole system of fundamentals of society and social interactions in a way that is non-linear and holo-heterarchic. So we're interfacing with systems in a systems theory type way, also acknowledging the stacking of holons and how things come together that way. The one is in the whole, and the whole the one is the whole, and the one is in the whole. Anyways, you know what I mean. As above, so below. So utilizing a coherent form or a system of perception, which is coherent, in other words, isomorphic, with the neural operating system itself. So we are filling the neural operating system with content which matches its form. That's kind of one thing to remember when we describe the abstract phase space coming into alignment with itself. That is to start mapping the functions which support and out of which emerges the abstract phase space. So the abstract facilities of the neurological operating system in its relationship and ongoing dynamic with the spectacle of the concrete layer of the neurological operating system. So where I was going with that, I totally forget. How is society being healed? We got that. So we're updating and restoring the social OS. So 2 questions. How is the primary schism being healed? I guess I was saying that this is really an internal thing. This is, well, not that social is not, but this is something that you need to deal with inside your own experience. This is something that we should be looking at, the phenomena of experience of your own neural operating system, see how it works, take these templates, test them out, see if they work, and then map out and model your own phenomenology, the movings and exchanges of perception as things change in front of you and new ideas come and become solidified and encrusted into your abstract phase space. I'm using this in the way that the model uses it technically. So I've described this as the inner APS versus the universal APS. So the inner order is simply matching to what the outer order is presenting to us. This happens through experiences of bashing your head up against the wall of the universe and receiving pain, making adjustments, and doing this whole feedback observation tracking method, which is reflective of a fundamental process of life, which is the process of adapting its own processes. So again, getting into cybernetics a bit there, but this is what the neurological operating system does, and we need to become aware of it. That way we know how to navigate the shared space in a way that does not reflect the primary schism. In other words, the reason and the way that society is so alienating right now is because this is how everybody treats their own selves inside, their own inner self. This is how we relate to each other with alien expectations and identities, and expectation is a big one. Guilt and shame related to this. Honor, all these social pressures. Anyways, and that was what I had written down so far. So we've just gone through the whole kind of arc there, and I don't know, I may have said enough for one day. I kind of want to make sure that I do have an arc that we have. So the strike point being the bootstrap, how we are bootstrapping the neurological and sociological operating systems. That is our strike point. It's gone off into acknowledging of this writing piece, as well as aspects of Portal Mountain, aka the hyperstition of isomorphic anyways, the isomorphic hyperstition, also known as the meta organization, the meta religion, the meta whatever you want. So I have 2 more notes on this piece of paper. One says you have noted, and then a listed iteration of a bunch of things, and another note or point here, you've been studying, and a bunch of iterations. So this is supposed to prompt me to I think this is for interfacing with narratives, that what people are doing, what they're looking into, what they've been studying, things around the world that they've noticed, power struggles or corruption or whatever. So you've noticed. This is one way of meeting people where they're at, by interfacing with their narratives. One way of doing this is an iteration of problems or concerns. Isomorphically, we would say within the areas of concern. So whatever somebody's concern is, hopefully it's somewhat coherent with life and the process of life. If they have concern over some area, some aspect, it's because a certain problem is happening, and what the problem is that constraints are being broken. So we're able to describe problems in terms of a system, relationships of constraint between different types of objects, and so we describe problems as saying, this has been broken, this has been broken. So part of something, so whatever it is that we want, whatever system or ideal, something like the car is broken, for example. We want a car. A car needs tires. They have to be full of air. If one is flat, that is a problem. So now understanding that a car needs to have a round tire, we have said what a problem is. Now protocols would come in and say, this is the protocol for changing a flat tire. So pull over to the side of the road, get into a safe place, whatever, get out your tire iron, jack up the car, take off the tire, put on the spare donut, lower it down, tighten it all up, etc. So we have a protocol for dealing with this problem, and this is one way of communicating with and reaching people. So this is why at the beginning of this post I'm going to be iterating a series of motivations or a series of things that people are studying, and tell them that if in fact you're studying those things and you're interested in them, then you can read this or listen to the notes if I publish them, these recordings, and hopefully your perception of these systems at play and the problems, where the problems are happening, should be hopefully adjusted to realize your own personal agency and what you can do to address this problem in cooperation with other people. And so this is again coming back to the guild system of working together. And what we're doing is right now offering up a bridge or a fig leaf, an olive branch, that's the one, to different perspectives, different concerns, what people identify as problems. This is what causes attraction of interest. So attention comes because we've checked off or hit off some very interesting narratives that are personally very that people are very invested in. So at the start of this document, I'm going to go ahead and do that and iterate a bunch of things that problems that people have, situations that they're in, things that people are noticing, and I'm basically going to think, what do some various parts of our community have interest in, and what are their problems, what kind of things actually will get their attention to try and solve some of the problems that they're dealing with in their work group and in their relationship and in their corner of the network. So this is in another way of saying that this is the envelope and the rest of the speaking is the payload. So that first part is really the envelope where I'm trying to connect with you personally on an experiential level, trying to relate to something that you have an experience of that you can say that is meaningful to me, and I would like to research or pursue or study or disciple towards insights into that problem, so that I can be more effective, and so that we can all be more effective together. And this is the guild. So just trying to think over anything I've missed. I know I did want to talk a bit about addiction and with its relationship to mercy and grace, as well as the autonomy of the importance of individual autonomy, and the different types of relationship strains that can go on when one person has a conditional expectations of the other, which are being conveyed in the form unconsciously or not in the form of a law, like you have broken this law, you've broken that law, that means this, that, or the other thing has to happen, this, that. So we're talking basically mechanical again approaches to certain parts of relationship, and this is a very common theme or subject that you have to deal with if you are dealing with addiction yourself and trying to find support or talk to people around you, and to especially if alienation with those people is one of the driving factors of the turn towards substance to deal with that alienation, that pain, to stop it from hurting. That's another thing about trauma, is that we really do need to face things head on and deal with them. Okay, yeah, I'm coming out. So anyways, this is probably most likely going to conclude this session. I'm going to have to go through and transcribe this now, which is going to take a very long time. Also making a map of the things that I've talked about and how they briefly and the relationships, the threads of relationship that I've tied between certain things. So the presentation of that type of information will be very helpful to get an overview of what this discussion and what these 4 hours of talking and transcript have been about. And again, this will hopefully culminate in the next writing piece.